So this past weekend, I started playing New World again. They had like a double XP extravaganza going on, with it was like double XP on everything in the game. So I got back to playing some New World, and I honestly had a really good time playing the game. And it's weird because New World is considered, air quotes, a dead game. So today's video, I want to talk about New World. I want to talk about what New World could do to bring back people to playing it. What can New World do to reinvent itself, or basically just become a game that doesn't have that title of dead game? Because for all intents and purposes, the new World is not a bad video game, and it shouldn't be in the current state that it's in. But why is it in that state? Why is New World in the position that it's in? You can watch a number of videos from Asmongold to others out there who will tell you about all the negatives of New World, and they'll be very extensive, but I'll try to like sum up into like a very small thing and keep this video a little shorter than it would be if I go into a deep dive. New World, when it comes to its flaws, it gets that name of a walking simulator because in New World there are no mounts, and for the most part you gotta walk everywhere you go within the game. And if you die doing whatever you're doing, well, guess what? You gotta walk all the way back to where you were at again. So let's say you're doing a mission in the world and you travel 500 meters or 1,000 meters to get to your mission point. You die during that mission, it spawns you at the last you get between three fast travel spots, and the closest one to it is 1,000 meters away. So you just walked 1,000 meters and I gotta go walk another 1,000 meters, and it's like, that's one reason why New World fails. People don't want to do that. People want to be in the action, want to be in the game, we doing the missions. They don't mind exploring and things like that, but they don't want to be forced to constantly walk back and forth to places. So not having mounts is a big reason why New World suffers. The other thing about New World is the way that the questing works isn't necessarily engaging or fun. New World lacks the ability to keep you engaged within its quest, because a lot of its quests are basically exactly the same. Whether you're doing quests as level 5 or level 50, you're basically doing very similar quests in terms of how those quests are structured, what you're doing, what you're killing. All the mobs react the exact same way. You watch Aspen Go or get anyone else who's playing New World, they'll tell you these exact same things, that New World's enemies are basically the exact same mobs no matter what tier of player that you are. If you're level 10, level 20, level 30, level 40, level 50, or level 60, you're basically still fighting the exact same mob. If you go to Everfall's region and you fight some enemies, they're the exact same. If you go to the Restless Shores or Weaver's Fen, they're all the enemies kind of basically behave and attack in the exact same way. And it's weird because there's things about New World that draws you into wanting to play it. It has very great aesthetics. It's a visually good looking game for MMO, and its time period again is intriguing and interesting. But even though you visually want to play the game, you still feel like because you don't want to walk everywhere all the time, and because the mobs of enemies don't ever differ, you lose interest in playing the game very quickly. Me coming back to the game, I haven't played the game in months, and seeing that there's actually like a full-on human faction of enemies you can fight, it's like, hey, this is actually pretty cool that that instead of these constant fights of corrupted enemies or these zombie enemies, now there's actual human faction within the game that isn't corrupted, and you can face them. But at the end of the day, they still do the exact same kind of attack pattern that the other enemies in the game do. So whether they're corrupted or not corrupted, you're still facing the exact same tier of enemies. So all of that, accompanied by, here and there be some issues with connectivity, some lag. You got the population being very low for the game because no one's playing it. So since it is, air quotes, a dead game, population size is also an issue because there's no one around. If you're a new player and you just started playing New World today, for example, I did make a second character just to see what the new player experience would be. Compared to when I first played New World, there's no one around. I made a new character, went to the starting area, I saw one person in the opening area. I went towards the cities, and they're populated a little bit, like maybe 4 or 5 people who are like level 40s and 50s and 60s, but that was about it. And I went towards the first dungeon area, and there was no one there. And even on my primary character was level 50, I was going to the dungeon area that you will see at level 50, and there's no one around. So it's like, when you play an MMO and you see that even your dungeons is empty, that kind of makes you not want to play the game, because I feel like I can't really do anything. I have these quests that are for dungeons, but there's no one doing the dungeons. So how do I do these dungeon quests without being able to actually, get people together to even do them, because there are no people. The population is just too low, and you're not bringing in a lot of new players. So therefore, you're not increasing the chances of finding new players who haven't done the dungeons yet, or players who want to redo dungeons just to help people out who are new to the game, or they're just getting back into the game and they're hit level 50 and they're doing the later tier dungeons. Now that we summarize the issues with New World very quickly, let's talk about what I think could be done to make New World a better game, and what are some things that I've noticed in my return that they've done differently from my first time playing the game, so I feel like they're on a good path on making New World a better experience. Okay, quickly, I do want to add, I think they need to do something to the housing system in New World. You have to reach level 20 standing in any given town. It's like, I don't know the exact number of towns there are in the game, but each separate town, you have to get the standing to 20, and it's a very slow leveling process. And also, you have to spend like, what, 10 grand plus a couple $100 in daily tax just to get a single house in New World. They give you a mission level 16 to buy a house. You literally can't even complete that mission until you reach 20 standing. So why do they give you that 16? That's something that they should probably give you at like level 40 or higher, where you having that kind of money is very obvious and easy, and you might be close to having 20 standing with any given location. They should consider lowering the standard requirement from 20 to 15. I think 15 would be a good solid number for someone to be able to get their first house at a low level. I think overall, all prices for houses, isn't bad, but less than 200 daily tax will be better. Also, I think people should get an alternative to living inside the city, like allowing people to buy small land in the game that's instant based or whatever, so that way you can actually like allow people to buy land in the exact same spot, and then have it cost double what it will cost to buy a house inside a city, but with no daily tax. Also, at the same time, to kind of like offset the fact that there's no daily tax, have a daily mission where your home can be attacked by the computer controlled enemies. Basically just making it to where, like, since you're gonna live outside the city, you have to deal with outside the city dangers. So basically, like I said, that's just the negative to not having a house in the city. Should be having to defend your home from enemies, since you don't have the city's walls to protect your home, but it should be a once a day thing where you have to fight 2 to 3 ways of enemies to defend your land. Also, I would say, like, it would be pretty cool to allow small farming on said land, be it grow food, or have like cows or any kind of livestock, where you can basically be able to farm any kind of food resources and food resources only. Though New World has pretty solid combat, it does need some refreshing, in my opinion. I think every weapon, every current weapon should get a 3rd tier. Right now, there are 2 per weapon with perk options. I think there should be a 3rd one. Also, I think equipped weapons should gain the XP from mission completions. Right now, you only get weapon XP from using the weapons in combat, but I think weapons should get at least half the amount of XP that you would normally get from completing mission during any kind of quest that you're given, but only for the weapons only, not for weapons that you have in your inventory, or not even like for your secondary. Just whatever your primary weapon is should get weapon XP just for being equipped. Another thing to improve will be outfits and skins for female characters. Not like sexy outfits, but just skins and armor that are geared more towards female characters. If you look at New World's cash shop, other than the tiara, there isn't really a skin a woman would wear. And when it comes to in-game armor, other than like a dress, there isn't armor that look feminine. And yeah, I'm not saying have sexual outfits. I'm talking about freaking bikini armor, nothing like that. Just outfits that seem more form fitted for female characters, as well as things that will be interesting for, again, going back to the cash shop, that a female player will want to wear on their character. So one of the first things I want to talk about in terms of how to make the game better or improving the game is make the game more solo player friendly. And I know there's gonna be like a lot of MMO players out there who are like, oh my god, let's not do that. MMO games are become very, very solo player centered, not in terms of like the gameplay, but there's less people taking part in the MMO of MMOs in terms of like the mass multiplayer. A lot of people are just playing solo. You go to any massive MMO out there right now, be it Black Desert or Warcraft or Final Fantasy, it's a lot of people who are playing by themselves, and other than being forced to play with other players in dungeons, they prefer to be by themselves. But what I'm talking about isn't making the game itself single player oriented, but having the option. I think options are always the best thing you can always give people, is the option to do things differently, the option to do things with the team, or an option to people to do things by yourself. The option should be there. The option to be there for solo play in New World. And one of the things that I did see my return to New World is there was this quest involving a dungeon. You got to fight Thorpe, I think's his name. There's an option within that mission line where you could go do the dungeon to fight Thorpe, or Throp, whatever how he pronounces his name, or you can do a solo option. It's literally titled as a solo option, where you go like kill loyalists and these other people who are associated with this boss, and the boss will just spawn in that area instead of in the dungeon, and you fight him there solo by yourself, and you're done. So I think that's a good thing. I think it's good to give people the option. Now, people should want to do the dungeon. Sure, I think people should definitely feel like that urge of, I still want to experience it. But even me as one who played solo and did that mission, I still had the thought process of, I still want to experience the dungeon. It's kind of like with Destiny. In Destiny, you can play the game solo and never care about raids ever at all. Like you can get to max light without ever beating any raids in Destiny. However, you will still have that urge to want to do raids because it's something to experience. You know, people are still going to want to experience these group activities, regardless of being able to, you know, complete missions that don't even involve those group activities. So there needs to be like just more things to make the game feel better for someone who's playing solo. You know, if you're playing a tank build, the game's pretty easy. But if you're playing like a bow user, or, you know, Frost Gauntlet, Void Gauntlet, any kind of magic build, in your solo, it's rough. The game can be pretty rough on you if you're a solo build. You're not good at like dodging and things like that, and finding ways to prevent yourself from taking a lot of damage, because you will be need to take some damage or avoid it. So the game should be easier, or at least more accessible for solo players. The other thing New World can do to get players back into it, a way to improve, would be to add mounts. This is like the big one, you know, the big obvious one, where it's like, oh, do they do it or not do it? People who play the game are like, mounts are bad for the game, it will ruin things. It's the game plays better without mounts. It's people who are like, only reason why I don't play New World is because I don't want to walk everywhere. In New World sphere, when it comes to developer standpoint, they want people to experience the game, they want people to experience the world, enjoy the beauty of the landscapes, things like that. And I'm here to tell you that having mounts in the game won't ruin that. It won't change that. Mounts will just be an option for people to have to get from point A to point B quicker. You know, not necessarily skipping through any locations, because, you know, sometimes people do want to experience, you know, exploring an area. I'll use Elder Scrolls, for example. If you ask Skyrim players, have they, you know, traveled from Whiterun to Windhelm, or Windhelm to Riften, or Riften to Markarth, they'll tell you, yeah, they've gotten on a horse or walked all the way from Markarth to Riften. Because the idea of the open world of Skyrim makes people want to do that, and they'll get on a horse to do it as well, and it won't change them exploring the world of Skyrim. Also in Elden Ring had a mount. In Elden Ring, you didn't really have, like, other than the grace, people wouldn't always use graces. They would prefer to go from the starting area on turn and, you know, ride him all the way to Weeping Peninsula. You know, people will want to explore the game just by the game itself being visually astonishing enough, and interesting enough, and intriguing enough, and immersive enough to convince people to go explore. So adding mounts to New World wouldn't ruin New World's want for you to explore, want for you to, you know, enjoy the visuals that the game has to offer. People will still want to do that even with mounts. Mounts just make it quicker. That's kind of the thought process. Mounts just make it quicker. As I said at the beginning of the video, if you walk 1,000 meters and then die, you gotta walk that 1,000 meters again. That's not fun. So a mount would allow you just ride that 1,000, which would, let's say a mount as it makes it 500 instead of 1,000. And if you die, that walk won't be 1,000 meters, because you have your mount. It's still going to be, you know, 500 meters. So you have a total of 1,000 instead of a total of 2,000 meters when it comes to if you walk versus using a mount. It just will make the game better, in my opinion. User experience will be better. The UX of New World will be overall better if there was mounts. And let's be honest here, if you added mounts, you have your free mounts and you have paid mounts in Cash Shop, you're going to be injecting new revenue into the game. So another way New World could, you know, theoretically, you know, increase its population and increase its success rate is getting people interested in New World again. How do you do that? How do you get new players wanted to play the game, and how do you get players who gave up on the game to return to the game? Events. I told you before that I got back into the game during the extravaganza for XP. That's not enough to get other people back into the game. But if you had like events where you have Shroud, Asmongold, Zepla, Josh Stripe Hayes, and Tim the Tapman, like you have all these big, like not even just MMO creators, but all the big creators of Twitch playing New World. What's going to happen is people who watch them are going to want to play New World. I'm not done yet. Imagine if you have it to where New World is a free-to-play game if you have Twitch Prime. If you have Twitch Prime, Twitch will give you a code that unlocks New World on Steam or on Amazon's game launcher that also exists. So if you make New World a free-to-play game only for people who have Prime, you're also you're getting people who are watching these Twitch channels who are watching Tim Tapman, Asmongold, Shroud, and all these people who all have Prime are also starting to like be able to like, I can play this game for free. I don't have to spend $40 on Steam. I can just use my Prime, get a code, and now I have New World. So you're getting that player, into it. So you're gonna say, well, that's gonna hurt the game if it's half free to play and half paid if you don't have Prime. Well, again, it goes back to what I said before about when you add mounts, you have free mounts and paid mounts. You can, again, this is all cosmetic. I don't think there's an issue to have cosmetic microtransactions. If people are playing the game for free, they're going to want to see that cash shop because now they have money that they didn't spend on the game. They can spend inside the cash shop buying mounts, buying skins, and things of that nature. So just ways to get the population higher, and higher population is the more people are playing the game, more money New World's making because more people are buying those skins and buying those mounts and things of that nature. So it just kind of like just goes full circle and improves the overall quality of the game when it comes to population, because you want population to be high, because MMO with a low population is MMO people won't play. MMOs have to have a good population for people to care, because if you don't have a high population, people won't be able to do dungeons. People won't be able to just sit, hey, you want to do this together. When I play Star Wars or Republic, I'm gonna do a video on that at some point. Every single time I play, no matter what character I'm playing on, to have if you play the game with all the characters, you basically it's an achievement to play with each, and each character has their own story different from the other character. So every time I get on any of my characters, I always see in the world chat, hey, you want to group together? There's so much community things going on in the Old Republic that doesn't go on in New World. New World, if you look at the chat, it's just want to buy, want to sell, and that's basically it. So if you had the population increase via having a free to play for people who have Prime, you have all these content creators playing the game as well, and you're just getting this influx of players, then you start to see people who don't have Prime buy the game on Steam and are getting into it as well, because they're seeing there's a community here. The people want to experience that community, and they're getting the community now via playing New World, via the population has increased. So the last thing I want to add to this video when it comes to how can you make New World a better experience, how can New World revive itself, how can New World get off life support and be, a great MMO experience, content. That's the greatest answer to any solution or to any question is content. New World needs not only new content, but content that's not similar to what's already in the game. I said before at the beginning of the video, I talked about having the exact same kind of mobs, no matter what part of the world you're in. New content should have mobs that are different from anywhere else in the game. New content should have story-driven missions that show the acting chops of people who they're hiring from New World. That add some cutscenes into it. New World needs a Taken King. You look at Destiny. Destiny was kind of like a struggle story-wise until Taken King came out, and then things change. New World needs its Taken King as a content, addition, a DLC, if you will, an expansion. You look at Final Fantasy 14. Heaven's Sword was that game. Was that jolt of energy into Final Fantasy 14 to get people back into playing the game, to enjoy the game. Yeah, depending on who you ask, Stormblood kind of took it back down. Then there's the other expansions all kind of put it back into there. Your expansion content, your DLC content can be the life that your game needs to be a success, and New World lacks it. And people just want something different. They want something different from what they've been playing for the first 60 levels. They want something different. They want new levels, you know, go beyond 60, start adding prestigious to where you can get to 70 and 80, 90 and 100 and keep going, you know, so on, so far and so forth. You know, add better scaling for enemies, damages, and things of that nature that doesn't lock people into playing in one region. And there's a lot of things that New World could do, and I think the best, other than adding content, the best thing that they could do to improve New World is listen to the people who play the game. Listen to Kat Conti, who plays New World basically almost every stream. She plays New World. Listen to Aspen Gold. Listen to other content creators out there who can give you an unbiased opinion, who can give you constructive criticism and give you I don't want to say results, but who can give you solutions. Because it's one thing to just say this is broken, this is bad, this needs to be fixed, but can you provide solutions to make things better? If someone can't provide a way to make things better, don't listen to that person. Listen to who can. Listen to who's like, yeah, I don't really like this, but here's how I think you can make it better. Do that, Amazon. The New World will be a better game. With all that said, hope you all enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. You should play New World. I'm going to end this video by saying this. If you left New World, you should play it again. I think New World's a solid game to play when you just want to like hang out, chill, enjoy yourself. So I had fun when I played it this past weekend. You should too. But I'll catch you guys in the next video. Y'all be safe. Because another me, boy Nubis. I'm out of here. Check me out on Twitch. Link in the search box below. Deuces.